You don't like certain speech? The best speech for wrong speech is more speech. The best speech for false speech is true speech. That's how it works. You have a debate, and you trust we, the people, to figure it out, not some.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I'm inspired by your First Amendment passion. You are the
I knew you would be.
You are the John Stuart Mill of the House of Representatives and the Voltaire of Congress, and you put me in the mood of Justice Brandeis. But I want to ask.
You can stop there.
No, I got to keep going a little bit because I have to know whether or not your First Amendment passion and principles, which I take to be completely true, and I've always known that about you, extend to one citizen named Donald Trump. Now, let's talk about Donald Trump for a second, okay? He is, after all, I think, the President of the United States. And check this out, okay? Everybody in this room who's sitting on this side of the dais is a politician, okay? We have people say stuff about us and say stuff about our rivals and our opponents all the time. I don't know if there's anybody here who's ever sued anybody in politics for libel or defamation. I'm taking that no. I imagine a lot of us have felt like, have you? Well, I'll be curious to hear about that later, Mr. Issa. But the vast majority of us don't sue people, even when we feel really aggrieved by the mean things that people say. And yet, Donald Trump gets to be president of the United States, and suddenly he decides he doesn't like Jim Jordan's approach, which is the answer to bad speech is good speech. The answer to false speech is true speech. The answer to nonsense is the dialectics of expression. That's the spirit of the First Amendment. Well, check this one out. Donald Trump personally suing CBS for $20 billion. The president of the United States is suing CBS for $20 billion. Why? What did they say about him? Did they lie about him? Did they defame him? No, it has nothing to do with him. It has to do with the way he thinks they unfairly edited a video conversation with Kamala Harris. He said that the way the video looked in the commercial for 60 Minutes was different from the way she appeared. The president of the United States is suing them for $20 billion and ordering the FCC, which is part of the U.S. government and under his unitary executive theory, reporting directly to him like a monarch. He's ordered them to go out and investigate CBS. And meantime, his close friend is trying to take over Paramount. And so he's, of course, completely entangled on the business side. That's not the first time. He did it to ABC with George Stephanopoulos, which settled a suit for him for, I think that one was $15 million. The president of the United States is shaking down the media. Would you guys really be so silent and taciturn about this if it was Joe Biden doing that? Honestly, I'm just waiting for one person to answer me honestly about it. Would you guys be okay if Joe Biden had been the one who had said destroy a grand jury subpoena against the Democratic mayor of New York for corruption? Would you be okay with that? But suddenly, because it's Donald Trump, you don't want to do oversight on it. It's the most amazing thing in the world. And there are young people watching, and this is the U.S. government. And we're going to be silent with all of these attacks on the First Amendment where the president is saying, I don't like the words you use. I want you to say Gulf of America, not Gulf of Mexico. Associated Press is now banned from this room. I'm kicking you out. I mean, come on. This is the United States of America. Will any of my friends over there, all of whom understand and love the First Amendment, say it should apply even against the President of the United States? And I know you voted for him, and you'd vote for him again if the Constitution changes and so on. But leaving all that aside, does the First Amendment not apply to him? So I find that we are in an astonishing situation.
You know, MAGA banning words and suing journalists and going after media companies while pretending to be the champions and the beacons of free speech in America is peak MAGA logic. Americans really made a serious mistake putting this man back in office. The only reason he was running was to stay out of prison, and now that he's made it this far, he's just doing whatever he can and pushing the boundaries as far as he'd like to. Of course he feels like he can do whatever he wants. And before the midterms of 2026 come along, they're going to try to dismantle the administrative state as much as humanly possible. They're going to continue to make it more difficult to speak out, making it so that more and more right-wing news organizations are the only ones in the press conference room and things along those lines. You know, they openly talking about Donald Trump doing a third term, and they can say, oh, well, we're just joking about that. Yeah, okay, Joe. There's no telling what these people are going to do. There's really not. At the end of the day, we didn't have to be here, but we here now, so buckle up and keep the fight alive.